So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and you are watching Drishti IAS and I am sorry for the delay. In this session we will be discussing Indian Express newspaper and we will be starting with the fact of the day. In the last session we have given you a practice question, we will be talking about that, then we will be talking about the fact of the day, and after that we will be talking about the constitutional amendment, and then we will be talking about certain important article which can be important for your exams point of view. So we will go into detailed discussion of that. As I told you earlier as well, when we talk about newspaper reading or the newspaper discussion, we have to make sure that not only superficial news, but the background linkages are also important. Deep analysis of that news is important. So we will be talking about all these things today in this session. So let's start. Okay. Here you can see we will be starting with the practice question, then fact of the day, constitution amendment, and then these article we will be discussing. US government indicts Adani's. Okay. So here in the on the top of the, you can say, front page, here you can see US government indicts Gautam Adani alleges rupees 2000 crore bribes to Indian officials. Okay. So this is a allegation which has been put on the Adani group over here. So we will be talking about this particular article. Along with that, there is an explained section. There was this article which was given over there. So we will be talking about that as well. Okay. Then moving further, there is this another article, that is Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty. So the name of the alliance is Global Alliance Against Hunger and you can say Poverty. The idea was mooted by Brazil. Recently, you know that there was this summit which has happened, G20 summit, which was there in Brazil. So considering that, they have come up with this idea. We will see why this is the need of the hour for this particular idea. Okay, and what is the alliance itself. So we will be talking about that. And after that, there is this arrest warrant for Netanyahu. You know that there is this International Criminal Court. Okay, they have issued an arrest warrant for Netanyahu, that is the, you can say, leader of Israel. Okay, so we will be talking about that, why he has been issued this particular warrant and what are the, you can say, consequences which can happen. Okay, so we will be talking about all these things in this session. Along with that, there will be one more article which we will be discussing today. Okay, so that is about today's outline. For your own read, there is no article today because in the newspaper itself today there was not much which has been covered apart from the political news, and we do not dwell into the political news because UPSC will never ask you these questions. Okay, so let's start. We'll be starting with the practice question. So, which country does not share a border with Guyana, Brazil, Venezuela, Suriname or Argentina? Many of you have given the right answer. That is basically your Argentina. Argentina is somewhere you can say in the South American continent. And when we talk about the Guyana, Guyana is in the north. Okay, so in the South American continent, here in the north we have this Guyana, and there are three countries that are having borders with you can say Guyana. One is your Venezuela. In the, you can say, southwest we have Brazil, south and southwest we have Brazil, and then Suriname is there in the east. Okay, so these three are the countries which are having land border with Guyana, and Argentina is not one of them. So option D would be your right answer over here. Now we will be starting our discussion. Before that, I would like to make an important announcement that now Noida will be the new UPSC hub. Why? Because the Drishti IAS's Mukherjee Nagar classes which were there in the Mukherjee Nagar, that will be shifting to Noida. Okay, the nearest metro station there is Noida sector 15, and when we are talking about the address is C171/2 block A sector 15 Noida. Okay, and if you need more information on that, you can call on this number which is given on the screen, 9311406440. You can call on this number to get more information, or you can click on the link which is given in the description. Other than that, when we are talking about these batches will be starting from 9th of December for Hindi medium from 11 a.m. in the morning, and for English medium 12th December 6 p.m. in the evening. Okay, so that is about the, you can say, new classes which are started at Noida. Now, before moving further, I would like to tell you, if you have not subscribed the channel, please subscribe it. Now let's move further and start with our discussion of the fact of the day. Okay, one day, one genome. Now this is an initiative which was there related to the genome. So that is important over here. So remember that who has launched it and what is the goal. Okay, so it is launched by Department of Biotechnology. Obviously, it is related to genome. That is, there are high chances that either it will be from the Department of the Biotechnology or Ministry if we talk about the Science and Technology. Okay, that is there, and here Department of Biotechnology and Biotechnology Research and Innovation Council, that is BRIC. Now please remember this institution as well. Okay, on first foundation day of BRIC at National Institute of Immunology NII New Delhi. Okay, now it is an initiative designed to highlight India's unique microbial diversity and its role in the environment, agriculture, human health, leveraging data from the genome sequencing. Now what is genome sequencing? That is when we are talking about the structure of the body. We know that we are having cells inside our body, and then there are genes. Genes are basically your, you can say, carrier of various traits which you have. Okay, so now these genes are important because they have specific functions, etc. Okay, so when we are talking about your DNA, so we have genes, and the sequencing of that particular genes, that is important. That is basically gives you an idea of a trait of the person. Okay, so when we are talking about the genome sequencing, that is relatively a newer concept which is there. Okay, now that is to highlight the India's unique microbial diversity. So you can remember that this is the goal which is related to the microbial diversity. This is the initiative which is you can say related with the microbial diversity. Okay, now it aims to publicly release a fully attenuated bacterial genome from India along with a detailed summary, infographics and the genome data. It will be coordinated by the Biotechnology Research and the Innovation Council, that is BRIC, and the Institute of Biomedical Genomics, that is BRIC and IBMG. Okay, so these are the institutions which will be coordinating the efforts over here. For your examination, just remember that the initiative name is One Day One Genome. Okay, who are the you can say institution who has launched it? So one is your Department of Biotechnology and then BRIC. Okay, other than that, if you talk about the you can say initiatives objective, so it is to create or highlight India's unique microbial diversity using the genome sequencing. Okay, so that is about your One Day One Genome. Now let's come to the next part, that is basically 84th Amendment Act 2001. Okay, now see, it extended the ban on the readjustment of seats in the Lok Sabha and the state legislative assemblies for 25 years. That is up to 2026, because that act came in 2001 plus 25 years, that is 2026. Okay, so till 2026 there will not be any change in the number of seats in the Lok Sabha. Okay, now so that is what has been, you can say, that kind of cap has been put by the 84th Amendment Act. Okay, now with the same objective of increasing the population limiting measures. Okay, now when we are talking about the allocation of seats in the Lok Sabha and the state assembly sector, you know that that is based on the population. Okay, so that there is a equitable representation which is there. Okay, now considering that they have gone for this, when we are talking about this procedure, this is called delimitation. Okay, so they have said that they will not go for any kind of delimitation in the case of the seats of Lok Sabha. Okay, that is basically up to 2026. Okay, now moving further, in other words, the number of seats in the Lok Sabha and the assemblies are to remain same till 2026. Now it also provided that the readjustment and the rationalization of the territorial constituencies in the states on the basis of the population figures of 1991 census. Now whatever delimitations happens, that happens on the basis of the previous population data or the previous census. Okay, let's say if there is a delimitation which is about to happen in 2026, that will rely on the previous data of the census, that technically should be from the 2021, but we know that that has got delayed. So there, whatever data which is their previous data is there, so on the basis of that it will happen, or there are chances that they will postpone the process for like 1 or 2 years till we come up with the census. Okay, so that is how it is done. Now here they are saying that you cannot change the seats, but you can go for the readjustment of the territorial boundaries or the territorial constituencies in the state assembly. Okay, on the basis of 1991 population census. Okay, so this is your 84th Amendment Act which is there in 2001. Now here you can see we are starting with the today's discussion, that is related to your this issue that USA government indicts Gautam Adani alleges 2,000 crore bribe to Indian officials. Now what is the issue over here? There are two things. One, what has happened because of which there is this you can say allegation which has been put. Second thing is why US government is involved in that. Now when we are talking about the issue over here, there are, there is this government body, that is your SECI. Okay, Now SCCI, that is related to your solar energy. Now they have come up with the tender and they have given the tender to two groups. One is Adani Greens and the Azure Power. Okay. Now there are allegations that during the allocation of these tenders, there are in the various states like Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Tamil Nadu and JNK, there are some kind of allegation of bribery which was there. Now that has happened in India. Then why US government is asking for the indictment, or why US government is you can say putting charges over Adani. So we will be talking about that. That is the one thing. Second thing is itself of a issue of you can say bribery. Okay, for power contracts, paid bribes lied to investors and banks to raise billions of dollars. That is why the indictment jury has said that. When we talk about the USA, USA has the jury you can say procedure as well. When we are talking about the Indian courts, we have the judges based courts. When we are talking about the USA, there is a jury system which is also there. Okay. So that jury has said that the power for the power contract, paid bribes lies to the investors and banks to raise billions of dollars. So that is one allegation. Second is energy firm Azure accused of collusion and denies wrongdoing, says regulator approval deal was there. So now we will be looking at what was the issue. Simply there was this you can say there are various projects which were there. Tender was out and they have filled the tender, and it is said that there was some kind of collusion between, or some kind of nexus was there between the officials and the you can say companies. Okay, so that was there. Now let's see, here you can see this article in the explain section. You can go through this article, but we have taken the crux over here. We will be discussing that. Okay, so charges unsealed, rupees 2000 crore bribes alleged for the power contracts. Now here you can see what is the indictment and what is the allegation, and after that we will be seeing that what are the consequences. After this particular announcement of 21st of November, on the 21st November this announcement has been made, and there is this arrest warrant which has also been issued against Mr. Adani. Now the thing is, after this announcement, the share of the company has fallen. The company has faced a lot of you can say losses. Okay, why? Because obviously market works on the sentiment, and other than that there are certain you can say projects which has been project deal which has been there with Kenya, that has also been lost because the leaders of Kenya has said that they would not want to go further with the company. Okay, so now these are the things which has happened. Now we will see what was the issue and what has happened now. Now the US grand jury indictment has filed against Adani Group chairman Gautam Adani and others for bribery involving Indian state officials. Okay, so that is the charges of bribery which has been put. Okay, the case revolves around a tender floated by the India Solar Energy Corporation, that is SECI. Okay, in 2019 there was this tender which has been floated, and then after that allegation includes paying bribes of rupees 2000 crore, or I would say 2200 crores, which was there to secure power supply contracts at inflated price. That means that more than the price which is there in the market, they have got the tenders. Okay, so here you can say contracts were awarded at a rate that is 23 to 24% above the market standards. Okay, so that was there, and that is why they are speculating that there is some kind of you can say collusion which was there, because they have you can say given the tenders more than the market rate. Now what is the alleged bribery which has happened? So bribes were allegedly paid to the officials in the Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Tamil Nadu, Chhattisgarh, Punjab for the solar energy projects. Adani Greens Energy won SECI tender for a 3 gigawatt solar project at higher than the market tariffs, which we have seen. Now official reportedly manipulated the bidding process to favor Adani Group by denying fair opportunity to the other contenders. Okay, so that was the you can say allegation which has been put forward. Now why USA government is getting involved? Now the thing is, everything which has happened, that has happened in India. Whatever issue is there, that is the issue of India, and Indian companies, Indian officials was involved. Then why USA is going for the indictment? Okay, now the thing is, when we are talking about such multinational companies, USA also has various investors which has invested in the group. Okay, now considering that USA also has stakes, other than that USA is saying that there are various instruments, financial instruments, which has been used to raise money. Okay, now their instruments belongs to USA as well. Now that is why USA is also taking interest in that. So here you can say Adani Group's use of US financial system for transaction. So they have used US financial instrument or the financial system for the transaction. So that is one thing. Second thing is, marketing of the corporate bond to the American investors, making it fall under the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. Okay, so they have a Foreign Corrupt Practices Act wherein the company over here has gone for the promotion of the corporate bonds in the USA, and you can say lure the investors over there. Now when you are putting forward your company's performance, you are saying that company is performing good, but there is some kind of issue which is there, which is collusion is going on inside the company, because of which your bond is having a value or your equities are having higher value. So that it means that you are somehow luring the investors. Okay, so that is the allegation which has been put, that they have lured the investors by putting forward such things, that by advertising the corporate bonds over here, marketing of corporate bonds to the American investors, making it fall under the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act as well. The case involved companies whose stock is publicly traded on the US exchange, that is NYSE, New York Stock Exchange, and NASDAQ. Now they are saying that on the USA stock exchange also this company was there, and that is why they are taking interest, and that is exactly why they are also going for the indictment. Okay, now moving further here, what are the consequences? What will happen now that there is this you can say allegation which has been made, now arrest warrant has been issued? What will happen now? Okay, the USA SEC demands Adani delist from the US exchange. They have said that it is a company which is listed on the US stock exchange as well, so they are saying that first we will go for the delisting it. But one thing, second thing is FBI is also investing it, and FBI has also issued the arrest warrant also. Okay, the case could result in severe penalties and reputational damage for the Adani Group. As I told you, when we are talking about only Mr. Adani, he has also faced a certain loss, and when we are talking about the whole Adani Group, they have also faced, you can say, their value has gone down by nearly 10 billion US dollars. Okay, in like one day, 21st November to 22nd November. So that is the kind of reputational damage which has been attached to the case over here. So that is about the issue which has been related to the you can say indictment with respect to the Adani Group. We have talked about it. It is simple issue wherein there was a tender which has been given over the market price, and there is a chances that there was collusion between the, you can say, capitalist and the government officials. Okay, so this is the example. This can be the example of crowning capitalism. Okay, now the thing is, these are the allegations. Let's wait and watch. Okay, so that is about it. Now let's move further to the next one, that is related to the ICC issues arrest warrant for Netanyahu, former Israel defense chief, and Hamas leader. Okay, now for the three people, Netanyahu, Israel defense chief, and Hamas leader, they have been issued a arrest warrant. Okay, now why they have been issued arrest warrant? For the humanitarian you can say crimes, which has war crimes and the humanitarian crimes. US reject the moves. Netanyahu's office calls decision anti-Semitic. Okay, so that is the when we are talking about the ICC, that is basically your International Criminal Court. We will be talking about the ICC, but right now let's see the article. The International Criminal Court issued arrest warrant Thursday for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his former defense chief, as well as Hamas leader Ibrahim al-Masri, for alleged war crimes and the crimes against humanity in the Gaza conflict. Okay, it is also said that the way Mr. Netanyahu has stopped the supply of essentials in the Gaza Strip, because of which various people has led to the hunger and starvation, that is also, you can say, included in the war crimes. There were reasonable ground to believe Netanyahu and the Yoav Gallant were criminally responsible for acts including the murder, persecution, and the starvation as a weapon of war, as a part of widespread and the systematic attack against the civilian population of Gaza. Okay, now blockade on the Gaza and the lack of food, water, electricity, fuel, and medical supplies created condition of life calculated to bring about the destruction of part of the civilian population in Gaza, resulted in the death of civilians, including the children, during the due to the malnutrition and the dehydration. So these are the allegation, or the, you can say, charges which has been put on them, and there was this arrest warrant which has been issued. Okay, the warrant for Masri listed charges of mass killing. When we are talking about the Hamas leader, for them they have gone for the charges like mass killing during the October 7th, 2023 attack on Israel, also charges of rape and the taking of the hostages. Okay, now Israel has rejected the jurisdiction. One thing. Second thing is USA has also, you can say, rejected the move. After that, Israel has said that it is anti-Semitic. Now, what is the consequence of arrest warrant? Okay, arrest warrant has also been, you can say, issued against Mr. Putin. Vladimir Putin has also been issued this arrest warrant. Now what will happen, that there are various countries, when we talk about this particular grouping or ICC, there are 124 members. Okay, now if you go to any of these member countries, okay, if any when we are talking about the Mr. Netanyahu or Mr. Putin goes to any of 124 countries, that means that they will arrest them. Okay, so though practically it is not happening, but the thing is that is how it should be, that is how the mandate says. Okay, now the decision placed Netanyahu in the same lineup as the President Vladimir Putin of Russia, targets of an arrest warrant issued last year. Now Netanyahu and Gallant would face risk of arrest should they travel to one of the court's 124 member nation, including most European countries, though not the United States. Okay, so this is about your basically you can say this issue or the event which has happened right now, that is the arrest related warrant has been issued for the Prime Minister, Israeli Prime Minister Mr. Netanyahu. Okay, now let's talk about the International Court of International Criminal Court. Okay, now it is a permanent judicial body established by the Rome Statute 1998. Okay, since then with the this particular document, that is the Rome Statute, they have established the International Criminal Court. Now the goal is to investigate, prosecute and try individual accused of genocide, war crimes, crimes against humanity and the crimes of aggression, and to impose prison sentence upon individuals who are found guilty of such crimes. Okay, so these crimes, the category of crime over here is basically genocide, war crimes, crimes against humanity and the crimes of aggression. Okay, moving further, the court began work in 2003, though they have that has come into existence with the Rome Statute in 1998, but started working in 2003. Headquarters is there in Hague, Netherlands. Okay, now moving further, here you can see when we are talking about members, as I told you, there are 124 members state which are there when we are talking about the ICC. Now notable exceptions being the USA, China, Russia and India, we are not part of this thing. Okay, now funding, if we talk about funding, is kind of voluntary. The court is funded by the contribution from the state parties and voluntary contribution from the governments, international organization, individual, corporation and the you can say other entities. So basically this is about your you can say International Criminal Court. This is enough from your prelims point of view, so you can remember this much. Okay, now here it is important to note that there are 124 nations and these are the exclusions, these are not excluded. And there are recently when we are talking about the prominent personalities, so Netanyahu and Mr. Putin are the one against whom there is an arrest warrant. Okay, these are the leaders of the states and still they are having arrest warrant against them. Okay, now moving further to the next one, that is what is Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty, launched at Brazil G20. Okay, last time the G20 membership or the presidentship was with India and now it was with Brazil. Brazil has gone for creation of this new alliance, that is basically Global Alliance Against the Hunger and Poverty. Now they are saying that why this was needed, because after the COVID there are various things which are not you can say going right way with respect to the poverty and the hunger etc. When we are talking about the you can say sustainable development goals etc., you know that in the agenda 30 also we are having this goal that we have to eliminate the poverty, we have to eliminate the you can say hunger. Okay, you have to solve the issues related to malnutrition etc. All these things are there, but we are not performing at the pace as we should. Okay, after COVID we have taken a step back, or you can say after COVID whatever achievement we have taken, we have actually gone for, that has been actually reversed. Okay, all these things has led to this new initiative, that is Global Alliance for on the poverty and the hunger. Now other than that also, if you look at the geopolitical situations etc., you will realize that the geopolitical situations are not very good. There are wars which are going on. Considering all these things, they have gone for this. So let's see, G20 leaders summit that has happened in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, was headlined by the official launch of the Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty. Okay, it will serve as the platform for the connecting countries in the need of the assistance, public policies targeted towards eradicating hunger and the poverty, with partners willing to offer expertise of or the financial support. Now what will you do in this particular alliance? So simple thing is, whatever best practices are there, that will be utilized, and whoever is the part of this alliance, they will be helping each other to eradicate the poverty. Okay, how? Financially or otherwise, you can say when we are talking about the technology or the other expertise, they will be sharing it. Okay, so that is there. So different countries, different members will be participating in the formation of public policies of the other countries as well with respect to hunger and the poverty. Now urgent need. In 2015, 193 UN members state has adopted 2030 agenda for the sustainable development. We have talked about this, to end the poverty and hunger and achieve food security and improve nutrition by 2030. That was the goal which was to be achieved. Okay, but now in COVID-19 pandemic, we know that the reversal of the progress, we can see that whatever achievement we have gone for, that has been reversed over here. Then right now when we are talking about, we are seeing that extreme poverty has increased, nutrition standards has fallen, especially in the global south. Even uneven economic recovery is there in various countries. After COVID, there are various countries which could not recover from the shock which has been given by the COVID. Rise in the global conflicts, harmful impact of the climate change weakened the fight against the hunger and poverty. Okay, now progress is too slow to meet the 2030 target. The current projection indicate 622 million people live below the poverty extreme poverty line of 2.15 per dollar per day. Now this is the kind of income they are getting. Okay, so that is basically your extreme poverty line. Okay, so they are saying that by 2030 there will be 622 million people which will be under the extreme poverty. Okay, now when we are talking about the, if current trends persist, so we will be seeing that 582 million people will live under the hunger by 2030. Okay, same number which was there in 2015. So basically what we are saying that where we were there in 2015, that is exactly the number we will be achieving in 2030 at the current pace. Okay, so that is what the, you can say, concern which was there. So here you can say the Brazilian president Lula da Silva, he has said that I attended the first G20 leader meetings in Washington in the wake of 2008 financial crisis. 16 years later, I am saddened to see that world is even worse off. We have highest number of the armed conflict since World War II, the highest number of forced displacement ever recorded. Extreme weather events are having these devastating effects on the every corner of the planet. Social, racial and the gender inequalities are deepening in the wake of the pandemic that has claimed more than 15 million lives. The ultimate symbol of our collective tragedy is hunger and poverty. Now this is some kind of statement. If you recall, you can quote it somewhere in your essay writing, etc. Okay, so that has been said by the president of Brazil. Now how alliance will function? Now there are 81 countries including 26 international organizations, 9 financial institutions, 31 philanthropic foundation, non-government organization, etc., which has already joined. Now they will come together. They will try to help those countries which are facing these issues, create, or you can say make a public policy which will be helpful for them to, you can say, remove the poverty. Okay, so that is the idea. Any member country can access the proven best practices from other members, identify potential partners willing to assist the development of its own national model. Okay, so with the best practices you will come up with the your own national models. Okay, and the technical expertise or the financial support will be given by the member countries over here. Okay, now evidence based policy basket. Policy basket means that they are, you know, putting certain initiatives, certain policies in that particular basket that will be used for the different countries to utilize. Okay, so in that they will be supporting you. Okay, let's say there is a country, let's say India is there. India is having some kind of you can say, when we are talking about the nutrition, etc., we have a midday meal scheme. Okay, so that can be one policy in the policy basket. Okay, so that can be utilized in the African countries so that the nutrition related problems can be solved over there. Food fortification is there. Okay, so biomagnification is there. All these things, fortification is there. So all these things can be there in the food basket. So basically they are creating a basket in which they will be putting the policies. That is a virtual basket, obviously. So they will be putting the policies in that, and so that the countries which require as per their own need, they can pick and choose the policies. Okay, so that is there. Other than that, they have used 6 sprints 2030. Okay, these 6 sprints are basically the area where they will go for the more focus. Okay, so that is basically school meals, cash transfer, smaller household, small holder and the family farming support programs, socio-economic inclusion programs, integrated maternal and early childhood interventions, and water access solutions. Okay, so these are basically your areas where they will be working. Other than that, funds, they will not create a specific fund. Okay, So here they will not go for the specific exclusive fund for it, rather it will envision playing a matchmaking role, connecting countries in need with the motivated donors and the technical support. So basically they will not be having their own fund, they will be, you know, putting this on the, let's say India wants to have some kind of investors in a particular scheme so that we can reduce the hunger. So India has to approach the one who is willing to donate. Okay, so that is there. Other than that, whatever operational cost will be there, that will come from the member countries and the, you can say, voluntary donations which will be there. Okay, so this is about your, you can say, global alliance on the hunger and the poverty. When we are talking about the headquarter can be there in Brasilia or in some other global south country, which has to be decided later. Okay, so this is about the alliance. For your examination, this is the crux which has been given over here. So it is officially launched at the Brazil G20 Leaders Summit in Rio de Janeiro. And then when we are talking about the goal, the alliance aims to eradicate hunger and poverty, enhance the food security and improve the nutrition by 2030. Why? Because we have already have this 2030 agenda which is there. Now origin, it aligns with the 2030 agenda for sustainable development adopted by the 193 UN members in 2015. And what is the need? Why is the need? Because obviously after the COVID we could not do much in this area, so now we are focusing on that. Okay, so this is about the global alliance. Now moving further, there was this article related to Andhra Pradesh, who has scrapped the two-child rule or two-child policy. Now, why they have come up with this particular policy? In when we are talking about the time of 80s and 90s, we were going for the population control. Okay, at that point of time, various states has gone for, you know, you can say, adopting this particular policy, that is two-child policy, wherein for the, you know, maximum things, it was encouraged that a person or the couple should go for only two child. Okay, and there are various government jobs, etc. For that, it was said that if you want to avail the benefits of the government job, you should have only have two child. Okay, or less than two. But if you have three, then you will not be given that particular benefit. So these are the kind of you can say policies which were there, and Andhra Pradesh was one among the states which has also adopted it. Okay, since the returning to power, Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister and Chandrababu Naidu has expressed concern about the aging population in the state and said his government was contemplating moves to incentivize the families to have more children. Okay, now why is that they are going for eradicating, or you can say scrapping this particular policy? Because of the two-child rule, you can say what has happened is that the population has decreased, but the older population is still there. That means that younger population's chunk is lesser, older or the dependent or the aging population is more. Considering that, what will happen in the coming you can say years, that the particular state might have a aging population which is dependent on the young population, and since the population restriction measures has been taken, because of which the, you can say, young population is less. So the aging population is kind of a burden on the young population, that will impact the economy of the state, that will impact the working population of the state, and that is why they have said that they will be scrapping this two-child policy, so that more and more young ones can be, you can say, taking birth in the state. Okay, so that is about the idea behind this. Now, why was the policy introduced in the first place? So as I told you, in as a measure of population control between 1981 to 1991. Okay, but that did not gave you to kind of result which you have expected. Okay, that was related to the control of the population. As I told you, Rajasthan became the first state to adopt the two-child policy at the panchayat level in 1992. After that, Andhra Pradesh has actually done that. At that point of time, it was along with the Telangana. Okay, and then Haryana in 1994, Odisha introduced the policy in 1993 and extended to the block panchayat level in 1994. Chhattisgarh, Himachal Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, they have introduced in 2000. And Maharashtra, Gujarat, Bihar, Assam, they have also introduced. The dates are not important, but you will see that most of the states has gone for the introduction of this particular two-child policy. Okay, why did the Andhra roll back to the policy? As I told you, their population is getting you can say older, or elder population is being more in the percentage with respect to the total population. That means that in the coming years there are high chances, if they do not work on this, there are chances that you can say the elderly people will be a burden on the state. So that is why they are actually going back from the policy. While the national total fertility rate, that is 2.11, it is only 1.5 in the Andhra Pradesh. Okay, Now national fertility rate, that is basically 2.11. Okay, and that is when we are talking about the Andhra Pradesh, that is having a way less than, that is basically 1.5 in the state. This could affect the productivity of the state in the long run. As I told you, since births are less, that means that in the coming years workforce will be less, and if workforce is less, that means that your economy will not be, you can say, performing well, because obviously there we need workforce to work in the economy. Okay, now center likely to take the delimitation exercise in 2026, as we have seen in the first slide when we were discussing the constitutional amendment. We have seen that the next delimitation is due in 2026. So there are high chances that center might go for the 2026 delimitation. And as I told you, if you are having a high population, then you will get more representation. Okay, because we have the you can say a number of seats has been allocated on the basis of the population. Now when we are talking about the Andhra Pradesh will have a lesser you can say population, because you can say because of the 1.5% total fertility rate, that is less than the national average. That means that it will have less population. Less population means that lesser representation in the parliament. Okay, so that is the issue, and that is why they are going for the scrapping this particular policy. And here you can say there is this person KT Rama Rao. Okay, he has actually urged the center not to punish the southern states for successfully implementing the family planning. Now we are saying that we have started this particular whole thing for the population control. In the southern states, we have seen that the population was controlled and they have less population, but in the northern states they did not, or you can say the desired result were not there. Okay, and because of which what has happened, that northern states now have UP and Bihar, these states, Madhya Pradesh, they are having highest populations. Okay, and because of which they will get more representation. Now that is how you can say that these southern states who have actually put efforts to implement the population related measures so that population can be reduced, and now they will be punished for the same because they have reduced the population, because they will get the lesser representation. Okay, so that is the issue which was there, and considering that, we have taken this article. If you want, you can go through these things. Background of the policy, introduction we have already discussed, context of the population increase which was there in 1981 and all, so we have discussed that. Adoption by the other states, so we have seen that how Rajasthan was the first, and then Andhra Pradesh, and then other states has also adopted. Policy rollback consideration. Okay, so national debate outcome. Okay, examining the strict policy impact. Now they have seen that when we are talking about the national fertility rate, that is 2.11, and Andhra Pradesh is 1.5, because of which delimitation council and the population, since the population is less, representation will be less. So that is the national debate outcome is there. Second thing is demographic concern. As I told you, they are going for the aging of the population is there in these states, so there can be issues of the workforce in the coming future, so that is there. Then social and ethical issues impact on the marginalized communities and the political participation. Now when we are talking about the political participation, that means that if less population is there, lesser representation is there, so that is there. Second thing is with the two child policy. Okay, it was said that if a person is having more than two child, then he might not be able to go for the government services. That means that political participation might not be very much, or other than that also the marginalized communities which are not very aware, they will not be getting any kind of representation in the government services as well. Okay, so that is their government perspective shift, incentivizing the higher birth rate. Earlier they have incentivized the lower one, that is why they have gone for the two child policy, and now they are incentivizing the higher one so that the birth rate can increase, so that the young population can be increased in the state. Okay, so these are the concerns because of which they are going back on the policy. Okay, other states we have already talked about, so you can go through these. Okay, now moving further, this is the passing reference. To plug gaps in the farm fires undercount, the government agencies fine tuning the burnt area mapping. Okay, so this is one of the initiative which government is taking, that they will be going for the burnt area mapping, and they will be using the remote sensing and the, when we are talking about the GPS system and the satellite surveys, etc., to make sure that the issue of your you can say, when we talk about the farm residues which are burning in outside the Delhi area and ultimately resulting in the population, for their mapping they are going for this. This is the passing reference. If you want, you can go through this article, but I would suggest that don't waste your time over here. Now in the end, we have a practice question for you. Where is the headquarters of the International Criminal Court located? New York, USA, Geneva, Switzerland, The Hague, Netherlands, and Vienna, Australia. So you can attempt this question and answer to me in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. If you have not subscribed the channel, Please subscribe it. Have a nice day. Thank you.